We're on 5th and Wall Street in Los Angeles. And it seems like this area, like going on Wall Street and all these other streets, I'm not from LA, I'm from Northern California. Why is it like all the black people are homeless in these effing tents? But like if you go to where Pico is and Santee Alley and all that, people from Mexico, like I've asked some of them, they're not even legal. And they're getting all this business and they're not even legal citizens. Look at the black people just on the streets in these tents. I want to show you guys this real fast. Y'all make it to where you'll lock them up for doing the same thing the Mexicans is out there doing, selling clothes, selling knockoff, counterfeit makeup and all types of crap, fruit for $5 a pop. But black people out here and y'all, oh, well, these little girls are selling water. I need them to have a permit. It's this. It's just all black people out here. Sorry for the wind. But just look. Just blacks sitting in the park, homeless. They got tents every freaking where. And all this is black people in these tents. So this is Gladys Avenue here. And this does look like Skid Row, but even Skid Row, like, or this is Skid Row?
I just seen Skid Row on the map. I didn't even know there was such thing.
Well, even the Tenderloins in San Francisco don't even look this bad. They don't got all these effing tents. At least they have, like, homeless shelters. I know they get filled up really fast, but they don't have all this there. A lot of them are mentally ill. And it's like you guys don't have no facilities or institutions that you could have them committed to. Just look at how filthy this is. When you go to Santee Alley, I'm going to show you guys how they're over there setting up shop and y'all don't say nothing about it. Hi, how much are the Juvia's Place pallets?
Oh, yeah, that's the guy.
How much are the Juvia's Place pallet?
Which one is it?
This one, I guess. The newbie.
No, it's done. Okay, muchas gracias.
Okay, thank you. Oh, they got everything. Knockoff Victoria's Secret. Showing how Black Bud is. Yes.
probably need it.
I mean, black owned. If I fall off the sidewalk, it's over.
Anything for your cell phone today?
If you guys are actually going to come to the Santee Alley, make sure you go to Urban Rarity. They're black owned. I don't know if you guys heard that part. They're black owned. And they have some outfits and stuff here that you can actually get custom made. Don't come here asking for no discounts. I especially like the crop tops and skirt combos that they got. Look at that. How could you not like that? You see these pants? Okay. For those of you who asked, I live in the Bay Area. A lot of you guys, I guess y'all didn't know that. As a child, I remember going to LA, you know, Disneyland and stuff like that, but like being here as an adult is like a far fetch from being in LA as a child, because you're more aware of like your environment. And especially me, like I obviously have a social awareness channel, and so I'm more heightened to situations like this that I observe today more than the average person, I believe. You guys have supported me in doing this, especially like my sponsors. Thank you so much to Car Marshall. Over 100,000 cars in inventory while you shop, they will negotiate for you. Also, thank you to ashkicking.com. They have all your personal hygiene related needs. Please go and support straightblacklove.com if you are trying to find other black singles in your area. They will hook you up. And also go to Soulfully Center. They are a black owned hair care line. They have an online store for you to go and purchase some affordable, potent hair care products, and they also have a store that I'll be showing you the picture of with the address. So anyways, I'm in LA, and as we were driving to this restaurant, on our way there, we were on a street, I think it's called Wall Street, and I think the cross street was like 5th Street. And then I'm looking to the left, and I'm like noticing all these different tents, and I'm seeing the tents, they're just everywhere. And I'm like, well, it's not raining. I know it's kind of cold today, but it's not raining. What the freak is going on with all these tents? So I start looking a little bit closer at the tents, and I'm noticing that a lot of the occupants of the tents were black people. A lot of the people walking around in this area, which looked very, very run down, you could tell it's a very impoverished area, and a lot of the dwellers and the people hanging out and kind of just looking listlessly are the black people. So I start filming because I'm just in like disbelief. So in Northern California, we have our tenderloins, and even in the tenderloins, you don't see tent after tent after tent after tent completely stacked up, just row after row, just tents everywhere. Of course, you have the trash and stuff like that, but it's a diverse group of races in the tenderloins that you see that are strung out on the drugs or whatever. But in this particular area, it's nothing but black people just up and down the street. When you go a couple of blocks over, there is a area that they call the Fashion District. Other people call it the Santee Alley. They call it the alleys, whatever you want to call it. And it's flooded with self-identified Mexicans. Now, the reason why I say that, because some of y'all are going to be in the comment section like, oh, Mexican is not a race. I've said that plenty of times. But when you ask these people, like, where are you? What are you from? What do you consider yourself? They call themselves Mexicans. Now, these are mestizos, the Aztec, the Latinos, whatever you want to call them. They have shop set up completely cover up the block. They've monopolized the entire market down there in that underground commerce is what I like to call it. It's like this underground shopping area that has counterfeit purses. They have jeans, clothing, jewelry, any item that you could ever want. Even fruit is effing discounted, okay? Like, they get you some watermelon, pineapple, chop it up, $5 a pop. Everything there is like completely discounted. And this is the problem that I have with it, is a lot of these people are not legally here. They're not legal citizens of the United States. Now, some of you guys in the Black community have been brainwashed into believing that we have to be on the front lines defending illegal immigrants, aliens. We have to be the ones that support them in their fight to get legal documentation, and they get separated at the borders with their kids. Black people, I'm here to tell you that is not your fight. And let me explain to you why that's not your fight. Like I told you guys before, in those streets that are a couple blocks over from Santee Alley, where it's flooded with the Hispanicals and the Latinas, or whatever you want to call them, and these aren't Black Latinos and Hispanics, those are the ones that are over there making thousands of dollars hand over fist, and they're not reaching out to the Black homeless people over there, trying to give them a place to stay, trying to give them a little underhand job where they could sweep or they can just hold up signs or whatever. They're not employing any of them. So that tells me that when you hear Trump talking about building the wall, that is not the Black fight. That is for them to deal with. The attitudes that they have with some of us as Black people is disgusting. Like, you would think that they're honorary white supremacists. Some of them are cool, okay, I'll give them some of that. But ultimately, when the time comes for them to unify, they unify with one another. And something that I think Black people need to pay attention to is that they're on a united front with each other, that they practice nepotism well. Black people have still not gotten on the bandwagon of using effective nepotism. What do I mean by that? In the 90s, okay, there were a lot of Black people working jobs like McDonald's, Wendy's, Taco Bell. And if you guys saw my live, I'm kind of repeating some of the same things, but if you didn't see it, like, this is new for you. Those jobs were reserved for people that were in high school, those who didn't have a higher quality college education, those who could not get their feet in the door because they don't have the finances to go off to college, or they don't want to go in debt or whatever. Those minimum wage paying jobs were reserved for Black people. All of a sudden, the Hispanics started coming into those jobs, overhauling. They would put them in the managerial positions, and they would get their family members and their friends and completely get rid of all the Black people on the jobs, and they would employ their own. Then you go to these jobs and they have all these effed up attitudes and are disrespectful, and then you also start noticing that a lot of them can't even speak English. So my thing is that on one hand, you can just look at them like, wow, like, here you guys are helping yourselves out, but when the time comes, you guys want Black people to come and give you a hand up with your political work, with your political agendas, but when the time comes for them to help Black people or them to talk about Black issues, they're silent because it's not their fight. So all I say is that you should not be out here concerned about what Trump is doing to them. Am I saying that I support Trump and what he does? No, but if he's talking about building that wall, I'm not getting out there holding a sign. I'm not gonna support them. I'm not doing any of that. That is not my obligation to help these people. You would never be able to go to another country demanding rights, making all this money that they make, just like in the Santee Alley. A lot of them do not have business permits. A lot of them do not have certifications. They have family members that have the business permits that are legal, and their family members are getting them these jobs for them to be the face of the business. They're selling jeans, all this counterfeit makeup, all of these freaking items, and they're making thousands. The worst part is that when I go out there to see the Black owned makeup lines, such as Juvia's Place, being out there at the freaking alley, and Juvia's Place on her site, some of the palettes go for like $20. It could be less, it could be more. I'll show you guys a picture. If they're selling Louis Vuitton, MAC, or whatever, they can go out there, and Louis Vuitton needs to go and fight for that. But specifically for Juvia's Place, I went to a counter that was selling Juvia's Place, and I just asked, I was like, hey, how much is this? And he was like, it's $5. I was so effing irritated. I'm sure she spent so much money, energy, effort. She needed the support, and she had to believe in herself. And the moment that she started to accrue enough money, and she built this big brand that people love worldwide, and to know that these people are out here selling replicas of it, or actually getting those pellets at wholesale and selling them for $5 when you sell them for 20 plus, that to me is just disrespectful. And again, this just speaks volumes about how they are for self. Black people need to do the same thing and be for self. We are never thinking about one another's initiatives that need to be started. There is no Black and Brown coalition. Brown uses you when it's convenient for them, and they don't come back and invest in your own community. It's not their obligation to, but you somehow still feel as though you are obligated to help them when they don't need your help. Ask the guy out there, like, hey, how did you get a business out here or whatever? He was selling the little purses. He was like, you know, I started selling batteries at just $1 a pack. I ended up making $5,000 off selling those batteries. Then I started getting the counterfeit purses because I have a plug that ships them to me, and I have all different type of replica brands. brands. I got Louis Vuitton, I got MCM, I got Supreme, I got all this stuff. And I'm like, wow. But then you go over and you see how many black people are homeless, how many black people are not able to just go and sell water bottles for $1 without the police rolling up on them. Or you see them selling t-shirts or whatever, cigarettes, whatever they're trying to sell. You can guarantee there's gonna be a nosy racist person that's gonna call the police on them, begging them to show some sort of permit that they have to sell these products. But when you're on Santee Alley, you see police driving by, you don't see ICE being called. They are complicit with this. They probably boost up the local economy, which is why they allow this. But with black people, we could very much so be helping the economy. And because they don't want blacks to get ahead and they don't want us to be progressive, they're going to stop it at all attempts, which is why it's hard to be mad at these black people and say, oh, well, they're just not trying hard enough. Every single time we have tried to create our own economies, look at what happened with Black Wall Street. They burned it down, they shut it down, they bombed it, unless those people were willing to conform to white societal standards. And because they're not, they have to do whatever it takes to ensure that they decimate any of our attempts. And then you also have to look at who else is helping these illegal immigrants to be able to get trades and come over here and make all this money. I mean, look at Tippi Hedren. She brought her manicurist, and the manicurist showed wives of Vietnamese soldiers how to be able to do nails, how to be able to do pedicures. And these women were able to get enough money together, and they just completely undercut the beauty industry, and they started monopolizing the industry. To this day, it's like you rarely see black owned nail care stores and black owned beauty supply stores. So this isn't just a Hispanic only issue. This really is just about the mindset that goes along with the government and how they're complicit with helping other races, which they label as minorities. They're always telling us, yeah, black people, call yourself minorities. When the time comes and they have that totem pole in which they identify as minorities, we're always on the bottom. And that's why you see on this Wall Street and Gladys Street and whatever other streets they are, the black homeless population is freaking rampant, and nobody is out there trying to solve it. They could create more institutions where they're not trying to just always give them this pills, where they're really trying to rehabilitate them, have way more housing shelters, but they don't want to do that because this is a way for them to garner population control with black people. So anyways, you guys, that's just my thoughts on the situation. Please let me know if you knew about this homeless area in Los Angeles. Tell me also how you feel about the illegal immigrants out here making thousands of dollars a day off of selling replica commerce and doing this without any business permits, and they're doing it without being a United States citizen. Thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope this was informative for you. If you didn't know about it, I'm glad I could share it with you. I hope you guys like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.